But also, a new game came out. Very excited. I've been waiting for this game, Bravely Default 2. I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. I thought it was
You talked about it last week that you were
I a
excited.
little bit. I had said I was excited. I think this game is has a lot of really great feature sets in it. It's a Japanese RPG made by Square Enix, the masters of the Japanese RPG, or at least they were back in the olden days. I think they've been trying to branch out into bigger titles, and I don't blame them. Why would they want to keep making the same game over and over again, right? All Japanese RPGs are essentially the same game. This game is it's no different. It's like a kind of an homage to old school Japanese RPGs, which I grew up playing and love so much. I really love these games, and I haven't played one in a really long time, and this game is scratching all those itches. I'm about 15 hours in. I've played. It's really great because it's on the Switch. I can play it on the train. Um, and this game does not shy away from the grinding aspect, which I love about that. It's something that I do really like about RPGs. I like grinding out levels. That's something that I
How
like to do.
strange.
It has its rewarding aspects um, in it that you invested all this time and you actually are seeing progress in your character, and your characters get stronger and stronger and stronger. Then you can finally beat a boss or whatever it is. It's cool. I like that sense of accomplishment, and that's why I play these games. This game is grindy, but it has a bunch of systems in it that are definitely it's like it's taken a look at all the JRPGs in the past and taken things out of all of them that were good for the it's like pro consumer, I guess, or
Mhm.
pro player. Like, this is a good system that players take advantage of, um, so that to ease the so it's not just as monotonous as just like, oh, get into another battle, fight this guy, blah 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 blah, and rinse and repeat. So this game, you can out of the box, you can increase the battle speed 4 times. So that's
That's
super
nice.
cool. So and I this the one thing I actually I'm starting to get used to right now. If you hold down the select button, like it's the A button, it will just select, like it just automatically selects it, and then it goes to the next menu, selects whatever the first thing the selector's on. So like if you wanted to go into black magic, then it opens up a new menu. I want to cast fire. So like if you just hold down A, it'll just go through that whole process instantly, and like it'll just select it for you, as even though I'm sort of getting used to that. It's actually kind
Mm.
of an annoyance because I end up selecting things I don't want to select. That's a minor gripe. This game has a really cool battle system that's all about gambling in a way. You basically can. It's called Bravely Default. It it's a horrible name. I don't know who at Square Enix is naming these fucking games, but when they made it to Kingdom Hearts 360 over 2 days, death by sleep, dream drop distance, it's too much. It's too much. You need to stop. Bravely Default 2 is too much, but it's a cool battle system. It centers around your character being brave, in that, uh, and or defaulting, which are two actions that you can choose. If you default, you basically take a defensive position. You
Mhm.
take less damage. You don't do anything that turn except for defend, and you get another battle point to spend the next turn. You can stack it up to 3 times, so you can have 3 default points, and then on that third
Shouldn't that
turn,
be Bravely Default 3 then?
there will be a third one, I assume. I don't know. Who knows? And then at that point, you can spend all of your brave points and attack. You can do 3 actions at that point. So it's basically a gamble on, is my opponent going to attack me or in a way that I should be defending, or is my opponent going to waste their turn or something. The opponent has the same exact system in play as well. So the other thing is that you can do that. You can, so basically if you stock up 3 points, you can make 3 turns on your next turn. Then you'll have 0. If you have 0, you can take 3 points from the next, or up to 3 points from the next turn. And then, so basically you can do 1 3-action turn, and then the next turn you can do another 3-action turn if you wanted. At that point, you wouldn't be able to do anything, though, for 3 turns after that second turn. I hope that explains it. So basically, if you have negative points, you end up just standing there and you're totally open to attack.
It's like taking points for credit.
Right, exactly. So it's a cool system, and it keeps the battles engaging. And in fact, that if you don't gamble correctly, it's not necessarily a gamble. If you don't play correctly, you end up getting fucked, essentially. So it's a cool way to make the battles engaging and have a level of difficulty that is engaging, which I find super awesome. The boss battles are difficult, and they're almost a puzzle in a way, I suppose, because you have to figure out when to attack. And so that's a really cool system involved. And I really like the battle system. I think that the basically it has a really appropriate level of difficulty that I often find in new JRPGs that I want to play is not there, right? Like, for instance, the last Pokemon game, I mean, no Pokemon game is difficult, but that's a JRPG that I do like. But by the end of the game, I was so bored with it because my Pokemon were over-leveled. In this game, maybe I can get to the point where I'm over-leveled, but the battling will still be engaging, I would say. And I found that in Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition on Switch, I found that the battles were getting too boring because I was over-leveled again. So it's not that I'm grinding in those games, it's just that the level of difficulty is not there. This game is difficult, so I find that really awesome and engaging. It has a boring story, I will admit. It's just like run-of-the-mill, crystals need to be found, save the world, bad people, whatever. So I don't really care for the story. I think the characters look silly, although the environments look amazing. So it's like a weird dichotomy. The characters are sort of like chibi characters, but the which is confusing because the concept art for the game, you know how Japanese RPGs always have those 2D really beautifully drawn characters, is so cool. Like, the characters look super awesome in those drawings. So I wish they could have translated it better to the character models. But it does also have this super cool system where it keeps you coming back to the game. So there's jobs, so you can level up your character's abilities in a certain role. So you can customize your party, so that's cool. That's been in other Final Fantasy games. I think particularly Final Fantasy 3, if I'm not mistaken. And then you can also send out like expeditions while you're not playing, which I think is just a really cool system. And basically that expedition gives you experience points, job points, and items. And so you're constantly getting an influx of things that help you progress through the grind that the game sets. So you do need to level up a lot, but the game is constantly giving you experience points and different ways. There's side quests and different ways to level up. So it gives you a varied way of leveling up, which I think is much needed in the Japanese RPG space genre, because it does end up becoming a grind in some ways. So this game does a really good job of having a grind, but giving you many options of leveling up. So I just want to say that I do really like this game. I intend to play the rest of it as opposed to getting bored halfway through it. JRPG,
which does happen with the very long and involved RPG games.
Yeah. And then
But
the other game...
It's really cool that immediately off
sorry.
the bat, they've got so many things that you can get really enticed with. And the fact that you can immediately speed up combat 4 times is actually super powerful in terms of keeping people engaged.
It's awesome.